Hey guys, Doug the Michigan Piper coming to you from the Pipe Rest, and got something different for you today. As I'm recording this, it is May 2023, and I am in the middle of the Codger Challenge. This is my Dr. Graebo Savoy, and in it I have it's our Prince Albert from, it's now pronounced Milan, not Milan. Thank you, Ethan, for squaring me away on that. Ethan, Parsimonious Piper, let me know that it's pronounced Milan. And Ethan had to pay a lot of money to figure that out. I'll let you look at the comments of the last video to figure that one out. But just still really enjoying this blend, you guys. Really enjoying this blend. I can't wait to infuse some flavors into it too. But as it stands, it's a really good blend. So, and I know it looks like I just filmed yesterday, and I know it looks like I'm wearing the same outfit. I sort of am. Different t-shirt, but since I wear fire department t-shirts most of the time, I wear this. This thing's in my pipe room now, and I just throw this on over top so I can cover that up. But it's borderline driving me nuts because I have poison ivy. So we had a recovery operation last week that lasted all week, and of course it's down by the river, and I got it all over. So hopefully the doctor's going to call me back soon, and I get some steroids to kind of take the sting off of it. But also, not what this video is about. What this video is about is foraging. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to show you guys what I got and how I'm using it. I will tell you that this is not my first time foraging, but I am not by any means very good at it yet. Just dabbling with it, having a blast. I'll show you hopefully in the videos and stuff coming up. I really didn't pay attention as I recorded making some stuff, and I didn't record as much as I wanted to, so you'll be able to see a lot of stuff in here I'll talk about. But bottom line is I had a coal forge I made on my own, and then just recently I bought a gas forge because it's easier to do smaller metal items with the gas forge than it is with the coal forge. So I'm going to show you guys that. I will show you this right here. This is one of the items that I made the other day. I made 3 pipe tampers. This was one of the 3, and sent the other 2 off to a couple of YTPC buddies of mine. And this was the largest of the 3. I didn't like this one as much, so I kept it for myself. And it makes a great tamper, but pretty cool little forge, you know, just for the first time trying to make a tamper. And pretty impressed with it. There's obviously some room for improvement. This one's a little on the long side, but great weight to it, obviously. Actually, almost too much weight to it, so you got to watch, you know, when you're tamping. But yeah, so I'm going to enjoy this blend after I relight it, and I'm going to allow you guys to view my day in the forge. Okay guys, so this monstrosity is actually my coal forge, and I just set my gas forge on top of it. So we'll forget about the gas forge for now. Just kind of show you where I came from. I put all this angle iron together, and I will tell you that be careful because angle iron was galvanized steel, and galvanized steel is very bad to use for a forge because the galvanization, once heated, can put off toxic gases. So I actually took the galvanization off, and that's, I don't know if galvanization is the right word, but I took the coating off. I can't remember, it's been a while since I did. I think I used acid or vinegar or something, but either way I took that coating off so it wouldn't be a danger. Put the frame together, but actually the coal forge itself, if you look to the right of the gas forge there, and I'm sorry I don't have the fancy stuff to be able to point it out here, but if you look to the right there of the forge itself, there's a circle or a ring. That ring, all that is a drum, a brake drum out of a vehicle. And then I put a screen in the bottom of that, a heavy duty screen. an attached pipe to the bottom of it. You can see there's a pipe that comes from the bottom of it, goes down. There's a flapper valve basically on the bottom to hold the ash in. Then I can dump the ash out as needed. And then there's a T there. And what that T does, if I were to take that box out of there and put a blow dryer in there, which is what I use for a fan, that blows enough air into that tube that once I light that coal on top, it'll fire that coal up. Now, the coal I have is not necessarily forging coal, but it works for forging. It puts a little higher flame because it's actually made for a furnace. And I got that out of a city that's close by here, and they had a whole basement full of it there. Somebody bought the building, and so I got a truck, literally a truckload, a bed full of coal. So I have coal to last me for years. But the one drawback to a coal forge is that it's harder to do smaller items because you're burying your steel in the coal and you can't really watch it, and sometimes you burn that steel away. So I wanted to get a gas forge, which brings us to what we're talking about today. So here's a gas forge that I bought. It's called a Mr. Volcano. I got it on Amazon, and as of May of 2023, or actually I think it was April 2023, the dual burner forge, gas forge, was $135. You can actually get a single burner forge, which I'm kind of wondering if I shouldn't have gotten, and I'll explain that in a little bit. You can actually get that for under $100. So guys, it's not expensive to get into this hobby if you want to do this. Even if you're just tinkering around like I am, I'm not planning on making a living off of it, but very simple to put together. Very good instructions on how to do it. There is some setup. You don't just throw the insulation in there. You actually have to put a coating on the insulation that they include. And it takes, several days to go through the process of, putting the coating on, letting it dry, putting another coating on, that stuff. So there is some assembly required, but to me, it was well worth it. Now, one of the things that I did was I took one of the burners out because I didn't need a 2-burner forge at this point, and all I was doing was wasting twice the amount of gas. So I found, laying around the shop, I had this big bolt with a washer on it. I took the burner off and just dropped the bolt down into the top of the feeder tube. And the reason that you do that is because if you don't do that, what happens is if you don't turn that burner on, the heat will go up that tube and it'll start heating up your burner, which in turn will melt your gas line coming into that burner, and as you can imagine, would be a bad thing. So just took the burner out, dropped this bolt in, and it works wonders. So this is what it looks like in operation. You see I got a brick behind it that just helps hold the heat in. I have the one burner just kind of hanging there. I don't want to take it off because I'll end up losing it. That's how I am. But as you can see, there's a piece of metal in there right now, and it's firing away plenty of heat with just the one burner. Kind of a cool little setup, you guys. I really like it so far. So the biggest thing I want to do first is put my piece of steel in the vise and flare out that end. I do that. It's kind of primitive, but it's what I do, and just beat the daylights out of it at the end of it just to get that red hot steel to flare out a little bit for me. The next thing is get it back heated up again. Make sure it's nice and orange for you. At this point in the game, just wearing a glove, I'm fine. I want to make sure that I square off, and I'll show you why here in a minute. So a quick check of the camera to make sure I'm within frame, and I'm flattening out the sides. The one thing I want to do is I want to make sure that flare is hanging just off the end. As you can see, I don't have a real anvil, but a railroad rail does very good. A lot of guys use that. I could probably anchor it a little bit better and have it be more solid, but for the stuff that I'm doing, it's not really big stuff. I'm not too worried about it. So I'm just flattening out the edges here, making sure that I've got it square. It takes a couple times, and one of the things you don't want to do is get all antsy about, well, it's not straight, because a couple taps and as you can see, it's right back to being relatively straight, and you can do the fine tuning later. So then we're going to have a little fire safety lesson. I wanted to tell you guys, make sure all the flammable stuff's out of the way. I really shouldn't be doing this on a wooden bench, but I'm not really set up yet since we moved. As you can see here in a minute, I brought my steel in to cut it off to length. What you don't see is just off screen, I've got some paper products over to the right, and of course that's right where the metal shot, and I started to fire. So make sure that you think ahead. Being a fire chief, you think I figured that ahead of time, but what are you going to do? So now what I'm doing is I've got it cut off, the end squared off. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'm making a tamper. So I want to make a spoon basically, or a pointed edge on the end of that. If you're a blacksmith, you're probably watching this cringing your teeth, because there's certain ways you can do it. But you know, guys, I'm not trying to be a professional. I'm just trying to get what's in my mind out in the steel. So just a matter of making a point there and kind of making it symmetrical. Just to kind of, this is where the point where you get, to me, where I start getting into a groove, and you know, the outside world just kind of goes away, and off we go. Very, very satisfying work here. At this point, I'm ready to give it a twist, just for decorative use, or decorative looks, or whatever. So get her hot and grab 2 pliers. Now, I'm still practicing at this, guys, so it wasn't exactly straight, but it does make you feel like a pretty big man when you're bending steel with a couple pair of pliers. But that's why you square it up right there, is because once you give it that twist, then it'll make it look pretty decorative. So at this point, it's just putting it back in to get it straightened up. And you gotta be careful here, you know, when you're tapping on it, trying to get it straightened on a flat surface. Hit it too hard and you're gonna mess up the edges. So just a couple of taps here and there, especially with this big old hammer, to get it straightened out will do the trick. So once it's all straightened where I want it, a couple hits with the brush to get all the excess stuff off, and we're gonna quench it. Do I need to quench it? No, I don't think anybody's gonna bend it, but at the same time, just nice that, you know, if you ever drop it or something, it's not gonna bend on it, especially that tip there. So that's what she looks like once she comes out of the water. So time to clean it up. So once I got them out and wire brushed them up, this is what they look like. This would be nice, but we don't want to leave them like this because we want to have a coating on them so they don't end up getting rusted or whatnot. So now I say wire brush. What I mean by a wire brush is the bench grinder wire wheel, because I'm a lazy guy, and that worked a lot better. So they look pretty good, but we want to put a finish on them. So here's how we do that. So the idea is just to heat it up so it gets kind of that blue tint to it. So I just do that with the blowtorch instead of sticking it in the forge. It's kind of hard to tell if it's in there. So this is so small that just running it over a torch, you can get it blue here. And you know, I don't know, I held it there for probably 30 seconds to a minute. And hard part is you can see one end's a lot more tapered and smaller than the other end. So you got to try to heat it as evenly as possible, because obviously one end is going to heat faster than the other. And when you're done with that, you get some neat's foot oil and a paper towel, and try not to burn yourself, and just wipe that on there, and that metal will draw in that neat's foot oil, and it gives a nice dark finish to the end product. So a little bit of that, like I said, making sure you're not burning yourself, you're not seeing off camera as I'm soaking it down every couple wipes, and letting that oil draw in there like that. So then what that leaves us with is 3 nicely colored, nicely twisted tampers. Like I said, I kept the biggest one for myself just because I thought it was a little bit too big. Each one unique in their own way, but all made from the same steel. And you guys, this was not hard, as you can see. I self-taught myself all this stuff, and just like the YTPC, there's tons of videos out there on YouTube for how to do some forging activities. It's very cheap, especially, you know, the stuff I was using was scrap steel. I didn't pay for the steel. The only thing I paid for was the forge, which is a one-time cost, and the gas, which, like I said, I was using half the amount of gas I really could have been using, and never had to refill the tank or anything. I don't even think I got halfway down. So kind of a cool little deal, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more stuff like this, just let me know, and we'll go down that road. But I hope you all are doing well. Until next time, you take care.